Hello, this is going to be my analysis video of the song Ignite on the RWBY soundtrack. I'm smiling, I'm a little bit of a Yang fan, so this was nice. I was going to say, what RWBY soundtrack doesn't, pull through with a Yang song that everyone's going to be talking about one way or another, right? Yes, it's what we do. I love the trumpets. They're very punchy, like those trumpets. It's like boom, boom. It's like, she punches. That's her fighting style. I haven't heard a lot of music with trumpets in, but I imagine that you don't just blast on repeat certain notes. Obviously, we see some more, hear some more in the background afterwards, but I just thought that was a nice touch for Yang's song, This is definitely more of a fighting Yang song. I do like how this song presents that side to her, because some people, I don't want to vague anyone or anything, no drama, just some people sort of reduce Yang's character to that, and it kind of feels like the writers of the song saw that and was like, no, like it's almost a bit of a parody, like this first verse. Like, hello there, my enemy, welcome to my punching spree. Yang's hilarious. Like, you get little bits like that in other songs, like in I Burn. She's like, her hair goes all golden and glowy, golder than normal, and her eyes glow, and it goes, and then she's like Super Saiyan. That's what she said, Super Saiyan. I apologise. And stuff like that. She sort of, if anyone was gonna like break the fourth wall of the show, I feel like it'd be Yang. There are some self-aware sort of jokes here. It's like she's almost like taking a mick out of herself a little bit, but like not in a degrading way. It's like, yeah, I am a bit cocky sometimes, and I'm ready to hit people. That's my job. But this is like, I'm gonna kick your ass. This is it's slightly exaggerated, and I think it works very well, especially where Yang is in the series. Like, Yang's done, she's just done. She was very sort of, some people call her like sunshine and stuff like that, and she's very like soft and caring and gentle, but at the same time, like, if you compare how she spoke about people and stuff in the first volume to this volume, and like the first volume with RWBY and that, she's like, oh, my sister's so cute, I'll protect her, I'll do anything for her. Now it's just like, I'm here for my sister. If she leaves, then I leave. Like, she loves her just as much, but the way it presents itself it's different. Yang's been through some stuff, and I think it kind of shows in this. It's a flashback, the character trailer that this is featured in, but I feel like it doesn't fit with old Yang. I feel like she's remembering the sparring scene, like she is in the character trailer, and her current self, her thoughts, are influencing how she remembers that, and that's what's coming across in the song, because she gets way more aggressive in this song than she ever has fighting a Grimm or thinking about Grimm, anything to do with Grimm. She's only been this sort of angry when talking about Adam, and that's fair enough, And maybe she is she has a lot of righteous anger in her right now. And I think that's definitely, well, it definitely shows when looking back. I love that lyric. Okay, this song gave me more material to analyse than I originally expected, admittedly. I thought this was a sort of, Yang's angry and likes to fight people, sort of, you know, not this is Yang's character, she likes to fight people, sort of more jokey about it, you know. But there's some more serious stuff in there than I expected. When we heard the line, like, didn't mother warn you, now she's gonna mourn you, sort of, not only is that a really good line, I think that's a bit like, let's look at Yang's mother figures. One abandoned her, and is morally dubious. I say that as a Raven stan, like, I love Raven, but like, what's she doing? Come on. And Summer's dead. Unless Rooster Teeth somehow bring her back, she's dead. So I think that's a bit sort of insensitive to herself, which is, I don't know. Is she avoiding thinking about her mums? Possibly. She is avoiding her problems right now. She's not like, well, she is sort of punching through them. That's how she fights, though. That's not like, what are my options? Oh, I could talk to them, I could do this, I could do this. Oh no, I'm gonna kill them. Like, people attack her, she fights. You see that very much in Volume 5. She's not having a laugh when she's fighting. There's a bit of smugness, a slight there, a little trace of past Yang, but it's very much like, get out my way. Don't hit me. And then knocking people away that do. And so she's sort of avoiding her problems without avoiding her problems, if that makes sense. I just thought that was interesting. And then we have the quote reference. I put 3 exclamation marks next to that. I am excited. I can't remember the exact quote, but the meaning of the quote has been referenced a few times, both thematically in the show a little bit, when people were sort of, generally, it's men, let's be real, it's men going up to Yang and then being like, oh, she's hot, I'm gonna like harass her or something, and then she knocks him out and then we cheer. But she's sort of, there's more to her than meets the eye, to quote herself. That's what I was getting to. I burn. She is underestimated. I think criminally, not just in the show. She's, like, in general. I think this song does sort of act as a reminder about how much Yang has changed, because even when we see old Yang, young Yang, pre-Yang, I'm sorry, I get tongue twisted. Even when it's like juxtaposition, you know, you get things that are very different. You get things that are different and then they look really different next to each other. Like, you could, like, black and white look very different next to each other. They are different anyway. But you get my point. Like, this song, if it was set in the past, compare it to, like, I Burn, and then it's like, there's more than meets the eye. It's like, I'm gonna kick your ass because you were disrespectful to me. And this is like, I'm gonna rip out your spine. This is... It doesn't say that. It says something arguably worse than that. But it shows how things have affected her. I put the word yangst. I spelt it wrong, but I put it in my notes. And she has become a lot less cheerful, and she's maybe bitter, maybe withdrawn, suspicious. I'm not saying those to insult Yang, because she is my favourite member of the team. I'm saying those are things that could arguably be seen as either worse or somehow diminishing the purity or cheerful good nature of Yang. Something terrible happened to her, so her mind has changed because of that, and obviously that's gonna change your personality and behaviour, you know, like she has PTSD and loads of people left her, which reawakened her abandonment issues, and she's not having a fun time. She's not anymore. That's the thing. But we get there with that with a lyric. So let's start the game. That does reference old Yang, because she did become a huntress for adventure, I believe she says, for a thrill. She was a thrill seeker. She said that at Mountain Glen, I believe. And so let's start the game. She's not taking it completely seriously. That sounds like an old Yang thing. But then there's like, some lessons are just hard to learn. And there's scathing eyes. And then there's stuff about suffering, judgment and pain, and about how light conquers dark. So like, old Yang had damage, but like not to this scale. And I think scathing eyes, I pointed that out because like, could possibly be a Raven reference. Don't know if I'm reaching a bit, but not only is Raven she does give sort of scathing looks to people, she also has red eyes, which are sort of associated with things like heat, so scathing could work. Yeah, but it's just like, I definitely think this is a bit, the song itself makes sense. I think when you try to think of it as having a sequence of events, though, it becomes muddled, and I think I'm not saying that to insult the people that made it. I think it's a reflection of what Yang's going through. She has some issues resolving what's happened to her and how she feels about people and what's going on. But I just think it's interesting because, like, judgment and pain. Yang has suffered a lot of pain. But judgment, I don't know if that's meant to reflect, like, I sort of made a joke about how, like, sort of, Yang goes into a place to get a drink. A man says something gross to her. She hits him. We cheer. I made a joke, but like, is she being judged a lot? Like, this, it's been like an almost a gag maybe, or a Yang trope, I suppose. Something that just happens with her. But it just makes you think about maybe when Yang was younger. Did she get judged a lot? Is she being judged now? Because I know that she's being judged by the fandom. Is this meant to reference that? Is that a sort of leaning on the fourth wall, like, hey, stop calling Yang a bimbo even, and stop saying she's dumb and stuff like that? Because she is judged a lot by the fandom. You don't see it as much in the show. Maybe that's foreshadowing something. I don't know. Maybe that's meant to represent stuff like when Taeyang was saying, you know, don't be so reckless and stuff like that. I just thought that was an interesting choice of words. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe it's just meant to be like there's judgment. Yang's sort of the judgment. Like, you attack, well, you've been judged as guilty, now she's going to kick your ass. Like, I don't know if it's that deep, but it's interesting, you know? Especially with some lessons that are just hard to learn. Like, does that connect? I don't know, maybe she's just like, well, you attacked my sister, I'm going to teach you not to do that. I might be going too far. And then we have the lovely chorus. See, like I was saying before, I weren't kidding. There's like, before you shouldn't stare into these eyes of fire, you're going to regret this little fight. And then it's like, yeah, that's old Yang. You don't want to mess with me, I'm something higher. Something higher. You know, something higher implies she's like an angel or another being or something. I think she's an angel. But, like, then you're like, okay, that's a bit cocky. Maybe that's a bit of Yang. Maybe that's making fun of Yang. And then it's like, anguish you'll know for your miserable plight. Soon you'll bemoan your mistake of life. You'll watch yourself suffer. You'll watch me ignite. Wow, Yang. That sounds almost like Cinder, doesn't it? Not to say that Yang's like sadistic and villainous. You know, Yang's like best girl. But I'm saying that definitely she's changed. And she has a lot of righteous anger, and she's going to direct it into her fists when she feels necessary. And yeah, I think it's interesting when you like compare the language as well. How the song is a bit like some of it's quite casual, and how people would speak. You're going to regret this little fight, and then it's like, no. The way it's been sung is casual, so I don't know, normal, how people would normally speak. That's a word. And then there's anguish you'll know for your miserable plight. I don't know anyone that talks like that. Sounds Disney villain, sounds Cinder, which you get some parallels in the sense, you know. Like, I even did a joke about that in RWBY when the whole dating site thing, and Cinder's dating profile said I Burn, and that's obviously Yang's song, but I think Cinder would probably like that song. She probably, yeah, when Mercury and that aren't looking, she'd probably like grab Emerald's phone and listen to it in earphones in somewhere where no one can catch her. She would love that song. I think that's just, yeah. Because if this song came from, if I just played this song and gave someone the lyrics who hadn't watched the show, they'd be like, you said this is a good character? I don't think they're a good character. Interesting. And also, it's interrupted by this cute little Yang from RWBY. And obviously, I like people. When people heard like Path to Isolation, people were like, oh, I'm disappointed we didn't get that winter at the end, but we got a little Yang. So I like the little Yang. I think it's a nice touch. It makes this feel a bit more real. Sometimes some of us think back to when they were played, when we do, if we can remember. I say that because I'm very forgetful. I remember this one because this one's recent, but yeah, so I can think back. Oh yeah, it's nice. It's nice to feel like it's more real, and also it's sort of reminding Yang about what she's actually fighting for, and not letting her get too wrapped up in the fighting itself. You'll hear that in a minute after this call. I love this jazz rock vibe. See, you get that again. Ooh, sorry. You know, like annihilate is a strong word. It's not like I'm gonna beat you up. I'm gonna annihilate you. And then there's messing with my family. It means that she's in your history. She's fighting for RWBY. If everything else disappears from Remnant, if everything else was destroyed, if she had RWBY, she would have something to stand for and fight for. Oof. Game again. Play both sides, scathing eyes. That sounds raveny, I'm saying. Sorry to interrupt, was that a great guitar solo? There's a bit of stuff in here, like ache and yearn, I'm waiting for the pages to turn. And it's just like, what's she aching and yearning for? And pages to turn. It's not only like does that probably relate back to RWBY's storybooks and how this is a story. I sort of mentioned about Yang leaning on the fourth wall, she sort of is a little bit. Sort of waiting for time to pass, which is generally, if you're waiting for time to pass, you're either like excited for something's going to happen, or you're going through something not great and you just want it to all be over. So when is this set? I've put that a few times in my notes because this can't just be a flashback. I don't think there's so much that Yang's been through and has to think about right now. And like aching and yearn, is that for Summer? Did she just die, or is that about Raven because her mum abandoned her? Is that about seeing Blake again because Blake left? Is that singing about when RWBY left? Is it about her team in general? Is it aching and yearning for the life she once had? She's like lost a lot without everyone dying. So there's a lot for her to ache and yearn for. And it's just, yeah. There's also play both sides, scathing eyes again. Truth you could not recognise. And there's all this stuff about, you know, a remarkable heart's gone from hardship and pain, and hardship and shame. I almost said pain. I apologise. And I think that can relate to Raven, like vaguely, even if like maybe like if it's not written specifically for that, but for other people she doesn't have a great relationship with, because there's play both sides. Raven refuses to choose a side, and going through hardship and shame and stuff like that, like, you know, like what you do isn't strength, running away doesn't make you strong, being scared but staying there, that's what makes you strong. It could be that, or it might just be like, I've gone through some stuff and I'm still here, so that means something. It might not be relating to Raven at all, it might be her acknowledging that she is strong, and not in the sort of cocky, I'm something higher, but in the, I'm here. A very sort of serious thing. And then there's just like about this stuff about standing apart and how you get like judgment and stuff, well, shame and that, about standing apart. You don't really see that as much in canon. Maybe I'm missing something. I don't know, maybe there's something in the manga or like a Reddit question Q&A that I haven't read. But you don't see people making fun of Yang as much. In fact, it's mainly like, you know, people saying that Yang's cool in canon. If people are insulting Yang, it's generally like, well, you destroyed this, so I'm going to try and destroy you, and then they get their ass kicked. Or like Tai said about her being sort of reckless and having to think things out and not use her semblance so much. I just think it's odd because there's never really been this sort of forced conformity imposed on this character that we've seen yet. That's mainly been Weiss has to be like this, Ilya has to be like this. We've never seen Yang being pressured to be the same as other people or what's considered normal. You could say maybe this is to do with the stuff Tai said and about her having to accept her arm, so she has two arms, which is normal, and be like other people, but I'm not sure if what their intention was. That's the only thing where I'm like, like, I don't know. Maybe that was just meant to be the core of Yang, where she's underestimated by people, and she always proves them wrong with her strength and her kindness and her courage. I don't know. I went on for a bit there, I apologise. And then we get Angry Yang. This is not old Yang. Oh boy. Oh wow. Yeah, that's not old Yang. You know, even in Armed and Ready, you get a hint of this, but I don't remember it being quite so explicit. I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna say explicit because one of the words lyrics is "Bet you'll understand when I'm pissing on your ashes, son." I'm looking at the lyrics. That's when I'm looking up. I'm following the lyrics or looking at my notes, and that is on the lyrics. And I've looked, yeah. whoa. This is the kind of anger we see a bit more in Armed and Ready, where it's just like with Adam, she's basically saying how his song's going to be lament or something, and she's going to, like, this time there won't be any sort of, what does she say? She won't hold back or something. Like, it's basically implied that she sort of wants to kill Adam, which I perfectly understand. I want her to kill Adam, but this is something else. Like, that has not calmed down as time's gone on. If anything, that's just been reinforced with all the stuff that she's had to go through. Because when you think about it, in Volume 5, what did Yang do? Yang left home. She found Raven, the woman who abandoned her. And Raven... I already said the word bitch. Raven started being a dick. So and then we get all this stuff where she's finally reunited with her with RWBY as well. And then, like, as soon as that happens, it's like, oh yeah, did I tell you, Yang? The gods are real, and Ozpin's been reincarnated into this 14-year-old boy, and now we're just gonna have to... Oh, remember Cinder? Remember how she, like, killed Pyrrha? You remember Pyrrha, the most powerful person in our year? Well, we're gonna have to fight Cinder. We're gonna have to fight people Cinder works with. Her colleagues, I guess, and we're gonna have to fight Salem, who's Cinder's boss. Cinder has a boss, a implied to be immortal boss that Ozpin has been trying to defeat for centuries and hasn't managed to, and loads of people have got killed doing that. And yeah, we want to recruit you. So of course Yang's a bit like, I will make sure RWBY doesn't die. That's that's the best way of. She's not like, oh yeah, sure. Yeah. And then obviously we get there. You remember what happened in that episode. Someone got impaled. A few people got beaten up. Crow had a bad day. And there was the best fight of the volume. And Yang turns up, and then Raven starts being a dick again. And then Raven abandons her again. And then we've got a whole thing with Blake. Oof. So, yeah, there's not been any sort of... There's been, like... She had, like, a day rest, this volume, when she just had that... There was that little Thanksgiving episode sort of thing. And that was very sweet, but other than that, she's had no break. It's just been like, bad thing happens, 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 bad thing happens. And it does not... When you think about how, like, Volume 3 ended and everything, like, if anyone sees her in the public, they're going to be like, aren't you the guy that broke that guy's legs? And that won't even be the worst thing on her mind right now. In fact, maybe that is judgment. Maybe later on in, like, Atlas or something, Yang might have to disguise herself because people recognise her as the guy that broke some kids' legs. Oof. Let Yang rest. That could be the judgment thing. I hope not. I really just want her to have a minute. And then, obviously, put you in the trash with that nonsense you perpetuate. That could be Raven or Adam. I don't think she wants to kill Raven, though. I think she's very angry at Raven, but she hasn't shown any sign of actually wanting to, well, beat her to death, which is how Yang fights. Yeah. I'm just going down. I'm just looking down and looking at all these lyrics. And there's stuff about blood and breaking. Whoever she's killing, she's beating them to death. It's not like she's just gonna slit their throat. Like, she's coming. Adam's got a big storm coming. But interestingly enough, the little tiny part of me which is the part of me which is screaming about Bumblebee manages to find the one word which could possibly relate to the ship. Bringing out the beast in me. Because Yang, obviously, I think most of the people in the fandom know by now that Blake's sort of based on Belle from Beauty of the Beast, and obviously she's Beauty and she's the Beast. You know, she's a beast in the sense that she's a faunus at the very least, even if we're not talking about her character. The same way that, like, Ruby's Red Riding Hood, and she's also like the wolf, because, like, you know, she wears a little red hood and she's a sweet little girl, but at the same time she has a massive weapon and wolf grey eyes, and she can mess you up, but she won't. She'll probably just eat your cookies at the very, you know, the worst thing. So obviously Blake is Beauty and Beast, and Yang is Beauty and Beast. She's Beauty in Red Like Roses, Golden Beauty. I mean, who else is golden and beautiful? It's Yang. And now she's also the Beast, which is an interesting parallel there, because, well, the whole thing with Blake and her tragic backstory. Adam is the corrupt beast. The sort of, he uses his strength to hurt others in the name of spite, whilst Yang uses her strength to fight and protect those she loves. So she would work as a beast as well as Beauty. I personally think that Blake and Yang are both Beauty and the Beast, because the whole thing with that is the Beast character develops, and Belle sees the, like, the sort of the growth and the beauty in what's not immediately obvious in, like, the bad things of it. And obviously both have their hideous beast nature, in the sense that Blake always runs away and Yang always fights. But we know that there are the beauty aspect, the good redeeming aspects, but my point is that they have those serious flaws, and they both see past the serious flaws and grow, or at least Yang will see past Blake's flaw, because even if Bumblebee doesn't happen, Yang's gonna have to tolerate Blake at the very least to work with her in a team. So they will have to repair that relationship, whatever it may be, hopefully romantic, whatever it will be. They will have to repair it in order for the series to function. So you will see that. But that's just interesting to me. Also, Piss on Your Ashes Sun. Sun is male. Grimms don't have any known gender identity or any sex. They are demonic goo monsters that come from the god of darkness or something, but they don't, you know. And Raven's not a dude, so that could be Yang's general. Yang fights men who disrespect her. It could be sort of anger towards Adam, just sort of tainting what she's doing. When she's looking back, she doesn't see, oh, I protected my sister from this Grimm. She sees her taking down something that hurt her. Because she had control then, she doesn't have control now, and that's what she wants. You know? It's, yeah, PTSD Yang, and also angry Yang, just put in a blender with some angst, and there we go. Louder than I expected. See, when you first hear that chorus, it's like, I'm gonna kick your ass. Now it's like, and when the rap, when she's like beating the blood and teeth out of you until you crash, and slaughtering you and hitting you with baddest licks ever. That could be like just relating to rap. It could be licks as in punching, as in she's punching as hard as she could. And then there's obviously stuff about pissing on ashes. So it sounds like she's gonna beat whoever this is to death and burn them up with a semblance and piss on their ashes. So the chorus sounds a bit, before it's sort of like, I'm gonna kick your ass, and now it's like, I'm gonna kill you in the worst way possible, you don't deserve to live anymore. That's, yeah. It's sort of, it goes from, it's sort of like, you don't want to mess with me, I'm something higher, was sort of like her cockiness before, sort of how she expected to win most fights. She did not win all fights, because obviously Neo, but back before she did kick ass a lot, and obviously she got a sense of confidence from that. And now it's like, you don't want to mess with me. Whoever it is, they shouldn't mess with Yang. Like, this is. It's gone from being quite fun and sort of jokey about Yang's nature to watching the sort of best worst aspect of Yang's nature. The show seems to be pretty anti-murder with its attitude and look with Cinder and how she's been written. Like, she's murdered people on screen and she likes murdering people. That's bad. Murder's bad. So it's just, I'm hoping that Yang's not gonna get demonized on the show for this sort of anger in her, because, well, someone does need to stop Adam. Most of the fandom want him dead. I don't think anyone would miss him in the show, apart from, like, evil White Fang members. This could go somewhere. I don't know if they're gonna have a little thing in, like, Volume 6 where either Yang's like sort of shunned or demonized or something by other characters for this attitude, or she goes to fight Adam and she does want to kill him and then she can't because her anxiety kicks, PTSD, the anxiety kicks in, or if she's actually gonna kill him. I personally think the second one is the most likely. The first one's my worst fear. The third one would sort of be, I don't want to say it's out of nowhere, because like they're telling us she does want to beat the shit out of him. Yeah. So we could get that. We could get morally grey protagonist, which would be interesting, because lots of people are saying stuff about redemption arcs, about whether or not people who have got them should get them, Ilya, whether other people should get them, Emerald, and whether some people are even like, what is the good guys and the bad guys anymore, Raven. So this would definitely change that up. I'm just my view on what's the good side and what's the bad side, I'm not sure what Rooster Teeth are planning. They haven't explored the villains' actual sort of what their plan is and why they want to do what they're doing. And Ozpin is super shady. So what's good isn't 100% good, and what's bad could be viewed as being not 100% bad. Emerald. So this could really go either way. Maybe they are going to explore grey characters, grey morality. Maybe they're not. But that's an option. They've set that out for themselves if they wanted to do that. It's just, will the show go that far? If you'd asked me before I'd watched Volume 3, I would have said no. Probably not. But now I'm up to date on the show. And like Cinder had her organs in Vanal like an episode or so ago. Like really like twisting the demon claws. Like the show's definitely darker now than it was before, and it's at that tone where it could do that. So watch this space. But yeah, I hope you have a good day. Hope this makes you think about Yang. Appreciate Yang. Have a good day.